All right. All right, sports fans, welcome to this week's Sports Guys Iowa SGI Podcast. With me today, I have a couple of our SGI teammates. We got Jordan Cole up in the right-hand corner. Jordan is a former linebacker for the Marion Indians in high school. The Wolves now. They had to change their name. Feared linebacker with sideline-to-sideline speed. Welcome, Jordan.
Yeah, thank you for having me, boys.
All right. And then down in the wonderful Mercer shirt, which I really appreciate because I got the Georgia Tech shirt on tonight, is Brandon Ghost Leonard from HLB. So Henry, Larry, Victor, I think, is the three towns that are there. I'm probably a little bit off on that. I think Ladora is actually where you're from, right, Gus?
You got it.
He's from Ladora, Iowa. Three-sport star back in the day, as they like to say in Ladora. Ghost put the 3 in HLV. So let's dive into our picks, guys. I really appreciate it. We're having a lot of fun on the site. Really thank you, all the readers. It's been crazy. And today we're going to pick really kind of week one for us, right, guys, where we're talking about our teams that we're following. D3, D2, Upper Iowa's off this week, so we can't pick that one. And NAIA. And we also cover Drake football on this podcast because they're FCS non-scholarship. So we got 10 games. And I'd like to acknowledge before we dive in, there's two great sites. The first one is Hanson's Ratings, where there's a guy who follows D3 football. He's out of Urbandale. We haven't met him yet, right, guys? We have no idea who he is.
Nope.
And we're all in Iowa, and we're like, God, we got to meet this guy from Urbandale. Maybe he'll pick up the podcast and reach out to us. Because Gus and I are in Des Moines, and Jordan's in Marion, Iowa. He's on the eastern side. But he actually does all statistical analysis of all D3 games across the country. That's like 240 teams. This guy must be a math nut. And he comes up with lines. So we're going to use his lines. Then there's another guy who does NAIA called Massey Ratings. We're going to use his lines for those games. So let's kind of dive right in. So first up, as those of you who follow us know that we have a lot of co-guys on our staff. So we're super homers when it comes to the Co-Hawks. But our first game, and I'm going to start with Jordan, is Co versus Cornell on Thursday night. Jordan's going to be there with Brandon Roseberry, meeting fans, taking videos. Hope you reach out to him. They're going to meet for the 135th time. Co has won 24 times in a row. So they're going for the quarter if they can beat them a 25th time in a row. And the line, as you might expect, is pretty high. So it's Co plus 36 versus the Cornell Rams in Mount Vernon. Jordan, who are you going to pick? And pick the line, please.
Yeah, I would say I got to stick with our Co-Hawks here. They are just a very balanced offense based on your guys'. I read your guys' preview on Co's for their season. I think they're averaging about 250 through the air and like 210 on the ground last year. So very balanced offense. And, they are led by a Kyle Cole. He is a former West Delaware Hawk, and he is a current member of the Co family. So we're going to keep it in family. And I think
that's a relative of yours, right? You guys
we've never spoken. He is, I think, like a third cousin, but yeah, he's an athlete, and I'm thinking that Co's going to be on 50 Burger Watch. So yeah, I'm going to hang it with the Co-Hawks, and they're going to keep it going 25 in a row.
Okay. Ghost, you're a Co-man yourself. Who are you picking?
I'm going to be a bit of a contrarian. One of the first articles I wrote about was praising Cornell for hiring Williamsburg's coach Kurt Ritchie. A lot of success there over in Williamsburg. I think that's going to translate over eventually over there in Mount Vernon with the Rams. But, Co's going to win big, but I do think that the Rams are going to sneak by and cover. 36 is a lot of points. So I'm going to take the Rams covering, but, it's Co-Hawks all day, baby.
Yeah, that's great. We've got a couple other guys when we publish the article that will also show who they picked. They couldn't be on the podcast tonight because we're all working men. So not everybody can join every week. I'm just going to go homer with Co. I do agree with Ghost on, I think Cornell hired the right coach and they can probably keep it close, but I'm going to say Co's going to cover and win their 25th in a row. So I think that's a great place to start. Now we're going to go to one of our most fun games. We've got Luther in Decorah, who's actually leaving the America Rivers Conference next year to go to the Midwest Conference. They'll play in the same conference as Grinnell and Cornell next year. They've had a rough couple of years. I think they're 1-9 last year, right, Ghost?
Yeah, sounds right. Yeah.
They've had a rough couple of years. They play in the blue turf. They're the Blue Norse. They have that blue turf just like Boise State up there in Decorah. And they've got the most aptly named team ever coming in, Milliken from Decatur, Illinois. They're called the Big Blue, of course. So obviously that's their mascot. I don't know what the Big Blue is. It's probably a blue Crayola crayon. But the Big Blue's coming up to play on the Big Blue turf. And Milliken is not a very good team either last year. And they are favored by 1. So this is our closest toss-up game. So I found this one interesting. Ghost, let's start with you. Who you got?
Yeah, real quick on Milliken, I had to do a quick Google search on them. It looks like the Big Blue nickname is, Wikipedia says, generally attributed to Carl Head, a professor of mechanical engineering who used the name on posters during the 1916 football season. So shout out Carl Head for the sick nickname. But, you know, JD, who'd you say is the home team in this one again? It is the North.
It's up.
That's right. But yeah, their head coach actually reached out to us. It's sending us right now. That's ringing a bell. Sorry, daycare was closed today, so my brain's kind of scrambled. But I'm going to go with the home team in this one. You know, we talked about that the first week of the podcast. How, you know, when I don't know what to do, I'm going to go with the home team. So I'm going to go with the Norse, baby. Let's go. Let's get them. Let's get them right. Get them in the win column, and hopefully they can have a little bit more success this year.
That would be awesome for them. Jordan, who you got? Milliken?
Yeah, just to touch a little bit, like O said, their combined record 1-19 last year between these two. You just have to take the home team here. Just give me the Norse.
Yeah. I'm excited. The Norse have been good to us, giving us a lot of information. They're trying to build a program. I think next year moving to the Midwest Conference is going to be good for them. Really nice people. I want to have them have success. I'm going to take the Norse too. We were joking earlier this week, the three of us, about how we thought maybe we should come up with an SGI trophy for this game because it's the Big Blue on the Big Blue turf versus the Blue Norse. I wanted to put Papa Smurf on a trophy and award that to the winning team. You know, I think it would be fitting for these two teams to play every year on the blue turf. So I'm excited for Luther. I say the Norse too. So let's move on to our next game. This one is a fun one. This is Hope College from Holland, Michigan. Very much a town like Pella, Iowa. Bunch of Dutch over there. They're the Flying Dutchmen. They also have a big tulip festival, by the way. They're coming into Dubuque to play Loris in the Rock Bowl. One of our pickers, Mitch Malloy, who you will see on the article, he picked Loris for this game, but he added an extra S. So, you know, just letting you know, he's a Cohawk former player. So even though he respects the ARC, you're going to see some of that from our pickers. He just added extra consonant. I don't know what speaks, but he did pick Loris with one S. So, Jordan, you want to start first? Who you got? Oh, Hope's favored by plus 33. They're in the top 20 nationally.
Yeah, when they met up last year, Hope 49-0, nice shutout. I look for a little bit of that again this year. Anything under 40, I'm taking it. I might ladder bet it up from 33. So yeah, give me Hope.
Love that ladder bet it up. Love it. Well, if you can find them on DraftKings, follow Jordan's advice. Ghost, what you got? Who you got?
Yeah, I mean, it's been all Hope the last last 2 years, these teams have met just twice in their history, and it's been the last 2 seasons. As Jordan talked to there, 49-0 last year. The year before that, it was 42-28. Oddly enough, both matchups were in Holland. This time at the Rock Bowl, though, 33 is a lot of points. I went of the thought process last weekend gambling. Let's take these big favorites; they're going to cover, and then that kind of bit me in the ass on Saturday. So I'm going to take the Dewhawks to cover, but Hope's going to win outright for sure.
Okay, I'm going to go with. I think Hope also. I do think they'll cover. Did a lot of research. They're a powerful squad. They're supposed to run away with their conference. They're going to want to get off to a good start. I would love for Hope to play Central, the Dutch to play the Flying Dutchman. It would be even better if they found a neutral site next year. Let's say, they say like Sterling, Illinois, kind of in between, meet there. And we could call it the Going Dutch Bowl because they both have to pay their expenses. So I would hope that we can make that happen on this podcast. That would be an all-timer. Wait, if they were upset about the Going Dutch Bowl, we could call it the Tulip Bowl. But those 2 teams have to play next year. So I'm with you.
I think that'd be a better matchup personally too. I mean, that kind of lines up with Central being strong. So
the
Going Dutch Bowl, that is all time. Now, Sterling, did you just pull that one out of a hat, or
I was just kind of thinking,
Dutch? Yeah,
I was thinking kind of driving like when you're far in Illinois, Sterling's in the middle of nowhere, and I thought that's probably about halfway. I was just guessing. We'll see. We'll look it up later, see how close I was. I would say I probably wasn't far enough east now that I think about it, because they're in Dubuque. So let's move on to our next one. We were just talking about Central. Central's going to Bloomington, Illinois to play Illinois Wesleyan. So it's on the road. Central's favored by 12.5. Ghost, who you got?
I'm going to stick with those Dutch. They are just a stout football team. I mean, I'm trying to think if I could, compare them to any like a Division I team or anything like that. I mean, it feels like, I'll give some kudos to your Badgers. It feels like they're kind of like Wisconsin. They're almost always, towards the top of the conference, towards the top of the ARC, the IAC, won a lot of conference championships in their time. So I'm going with the Dutch. They I feel like they might have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. Could have been a little bit of a playoff snub last year. So I'm going to go with the Dutch. They're going to come out hungry.
Jordan, who you got?
Yeah, I'll just reiterate what Ghost kind of said there. I'll be taking the Dutch here. Just looking at a little bit of I was just looking at last year's outcomes, 49-14 here. It looks like they stepped on them pretty early and didn't let up. So expect a little bit more of the same this year, and be hanging 12.5 with the Dutch.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think just all the reading I've done, the Dutch are really, probably in my mind, the team that has the best shot of dethroning Wartburg. I mean, we're going to talk about it later. Co's right there, but I actually feel really strong that the Dutch might win the ARC this year. We're going to see how it rolls out. They're good. Going to, we're all Co guys and been to that area. That's a tough little. You're playing in that bowl down there in Pella. The fans are right on top of you, and they pack that place. I think it's gonna be a tough day for Illinois Wesleyan. I think it's gonna be way more than 12.5. Yep. So
yeah, they don't take any prisoners down there in Pella. I got my first speeding ticket down there.
Hey, they didn't used to let you drink in the town either, so it's come a long way. So,
has that changed?
Yeah, it is changed now.
Oh,
I think you can have beer on Sunday. Pretty sure.
You can have it, I believe, but you cannot buy it. Can't mow your yard on Sundays either.
Okay. Well, they're getting they're at least in the 20th century now, guys. We'll see if we can get that down in the 21st century. So let's go to the next one. This one's kind of close to my heart. This is a UW school. You guys know I'm a UW grad. This is University of Dubuque going up to the University of Wisconsin Stout in Menominee. Wisconsin, kind of near Eau Claire, if you got any ideas where that is. Been there, really tough place, right on top of it. UW Stout has one of the best quarterbacks returning in D3. So they're favored by 32. But before I flip it to you, I'll just share that when I was in school back in Wisconsin, we used to always have this joke that Stout, the easy way out, was considered the least academically strong school. Great people, but hey, if you were below C average, you'd probably get into Stout. So it was my kind of school. So
that's why Zebo told me that if he were to play collegiate football, he would have went to UW Stout.
Yeah, that was it.
That could be why.
That was it. And it's like all Wisconsin towns. It's like got a person and a bar and a person and a bar. So it's a wonderful place.
That's how it should be.
It's how it should be. So let's dive into this one. I'll pick this one first. I'm going to go with the Blue Devils, just be a homer, 32. I just think it's really tough. Dubuque is a solid team, but that WIAC has got 5 teams in the top 25. Whitewater, lacrosse, and somebody's competing for the national title there every year. I just think that's a tough draw, whoever gets the WIAC. So I'm going to go with Stout. Jordan?
Yeah, Dubuque, second-year coach. Kind of hope they get a little bit of a bump there. No, they're 5-5 last year, so 32 is a lot. I know you're praising UW Stout. I just think Dubuque can kind of keep it within that number. So
all right, that's great.
Spartans.
Ghost, what do you got, Mr. Mercer Bear?
I'm just going to keep playing contrarian. I'm going with the Spartans covering. I do think UW Stout's going to pull off the win, but got to give a tip of the cap to former Co-Hawk Ryan Crable, the director of football operations. I believe he coaches tight ends over there at UD. So, awesome. I think they're gonna. 32 is a lot. I think they're gonna cover.
Okay.
But yeah, just not enough. Not enough horses to beat them.
Sounds good. Now we'll move on to a big game for all. It's a good thing we don't have our regular guys on the podcast who played for the 2016 best co-team ever. We've got about 3 or 4 of those guys who will be on this podcast because this is a team that they would consider their number one rival. Let's be real. One of the guys, flipped I think they got a Wuck Wartburg shirt. I think every guy in this podcast has one of those. Great respect for the Wartburg Knights. Maybe not inviting them over for Christmas dinner. So we'll start with the Wartburg Knights. They're awesome. They're really powerful. They've raised the ARC. They've gotten to the semifinals. Been within a hairbreadth. And a couple of years ago, I'm going on the national title game. Almost beating North Central, right? And so they're powerful. So Wartburg is playing the Monmouth Scots, Fighting Scots. Cool nickname, Monmouth, Illinois, kind of eastern side. Very good team traditionally. Wartburg is getting 23 up in Waverly. Brandon, you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, this is the only orange you'll ever catch me wearing. Will be for Mercer. But yeah, I mean, I gotta go with the Knights. They are a wagon, just always a wagon. You know that the road to the ARC kind of goes through them. Respect to Monmouth too. I believe I could be wrong. I feel like there's maybe a couple Monmouths, but I believe the Co-Hawks played. Monmouth.
They did. They beat him in 2016 in the playoffs.
Yeah. I was going to say, I thought that's who they played. But yeah, I'm going with the Knights.
Yeah. Jordan, who you got?
Yeah. Warburg they don't rebuild. They just reload every year and expect more of the same this year. But with UW Stout on deck for them, I think this could be a little bit of a look ahead spot. So I'm going to take Monmouth to stay within the number.
That's a good look ahead because we got a lot of really great week 2 games in the ARC and with these teams. So I love that. I'm gonna pick Monmouth to cover. I would just say I just got a feeling they'll keep it close. They're an incredibly proud program. They've been in the playoffs a ton for many years. I think they'll keep it close. If they do pull off a monumental upset in Waverly, I do predict the team bus is going to stop at the OP up there in Waverly, and the Fighting Scots are going to burn that damn place to the ground in celebration. So hopefully Wartburg allows them to cover but not win, because I love that place. It's probably the best thing about Waverly. So I'll go with Monmouth. to cover. So now we got 2 more games, guys, and we'll just keep rolling. Now we're switching to Massey, the Massey ratings. This is the guy that covers NAIA. Because let's start with the game that is probably not close. Let's save the biggest game for last. Morningside, plus 38.5 at Briar Cliff. They're 17 miles apart in western Iowa. Morningside just was number 3 preseason nationally. They lost a heartbreaker to Benedictine. We're going to talk about on the next pick. Last week, lost in the last minute. I was watching on the feed. I think they're going to be an angry group of Mustangs. So I'm going to pick Morningside to cover. And it's going to be a long day for Briar Cliff, who's building a great program. Actually, I had a lot of kids I knew and my son played with in Georgia that have gone to Briar Cliff. So I pull for them, but I think they're in a really tough spot, week 2. I think Morningside's going to be really angry. I think they're going to cover. Jordan, who you got?
Yeah, just reiterate a little bit of what you just said there. Come out angry. Their piss is going to be hot, and I think they're just going to lay it on them. So, yeah, give me Morningside.
Yep. Ghost, who you got?
Yeah, this is not going to be a fun time for Briar Cliff. I think little Zach Chevalier, and the Morningside boys are going to run roughshod on him. Max Huff, I believe. Apologize if that's the bad pronunciation, but he had a huge day last week, and I think you're going to see a heavy dosage of him here. Give me Morningside all day.
Yep, I agree. And other pickers were all over Morningside too. So now let's go to our big game. I know they're having a scrimmage up in Ames, some Iowa State game, kind of not as big as this game, because this game, I haven't checked this morning, but I'd be shocked if Benedictine, Kansas, isn't number 2. They beat number 3 last week as number 4. They beat Morningside. We were talking about it earlier. They're coming into Des Moines as the 2 or 3 team against Grandview, the defending national champion NAIA Vikings. I actually did some fun research. I don't know if there's ever been a number 1 versus number 2 football game in Iowa history at any level. So I think this actually might be it. I don't think the Hawks and the Cyclones have never been 1 and 2 playing each other.
The Cyclones certainly haven't. I did see Ohio State the other day. I did see that graphic that the last time the Buckeyes beat a number 1 team in the Horseshoe was in '85 when the Hawks were number 1. So
okay, yeah, but it could be, maybe, yeah, could be, but I don't know if Ohio State was number 2. But this is number 1 versus number 2. This is Grandview in Des Moines. They're playing that in that new MediaCom stadium tied to Drake. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait to see it. Grandview's favored by 9.5, which I think feels about right. So I'm going to pick Benedictine to cover because of the new coach, because of maybe coming off a little hangover, and because, they played last week, and this is Grandview's first game. Not only did they play last week, they beat the number 3 team in the country, Morningside. So I think that's advantage. So I think the fact they played, I think they're going to cover. If I had some extra money laying around to bet the money line, I actually might lay some money on Benedictine. So I think Benedictine is going to cover. Jordan, who you got?
Yeah, 10's kind of a key number here, but 9.5, that's a lot of points for two heavyweights. So yeah, give me Benedictine here as well. And yeah, like you said, sprinkle the money line.
Ghost, who you got?
I'm going the Vikings, man. I mean, I'm looking at the box score from last season, and Grandview kind of kicked their ass. It was 52-28. Flexed their muscles really big in the second quarter. And I mean, they just, you read our preview, they return a ton. That dude, Argo, in the middle is going to be a problem for Benedictine. I think, is there going to be some week 1 rust? Possibly. I think Benedictine, I do like that they, got some action for them. That's definitely good for them, I think. But at the same time, you're talking new stadium and everything, new head coach. I think the Vikings are gonna be fired up, and they're gonna keep this train rolling. They're gonna cover.
Yeah, it goes. I think that's good counsel because
Mhm.
I think if Grandview gets up on them and starts pounding them, then I think it could get ugly. Watching Benedictine last week, Morningside was really handling them in many. It just this team hung around. They were just like a scrappy bunch of angry fourth graders on the playground. So that's the reason I'm going to pick them to cover. Do I think Grandview will beat them? Do I think if they meet later in the playoffs, which is very possible, I think Grandview will beat them by more than 2 touchdowns. But I do think this point, I think Benedictine will cover. So it is a really cool game for us to start out with. So those are our 9 games. We decided to pick one bonus game. And we're not covering the Hawks and the Cyclones as much as we can, but we decided to pick that one for fun. So I'll go first. Wisconsin grad. I love Iowa. I love everything about Iowa. They're probably the greatest place in the world, except that Hawkeye fans are like Alabama fans. And you guys know I came from the South, who are the most insufferable people in the world, coming from Atlanta. So they're just like Alabama fans without the winning. So I'm going to go with Iowa State, just out of pure spite. Jordan, who you got?
Yeah, this opened up, like, the total opened up 45.5 here, and it's down to 41.5. So I think everybody kind of realized that every time these two teams get together, it doesn't make any sense. You take away the Iowa State guy running into his own kick returner or punt returner there. Like, just crazy stuff always happens. But the way the Hawks looked, I didn't get to watch a whole lot of the game. Just saw box score and a few of the key plays. Gronowski supposedly didn't look great. I think he's going to come out kind of hot on Saturday. And give me the Hawks 23-20.
All right, that's a big bet. Ghost, who do you have in your Mercer shirt?
Yeah, there's no supposedly about Gronowski not looking good. He did not look very good, specifically to start. But he did kind of settle in the second half. He made some easy passes. It certainly wasn't rocket science. But me, JD, I got to go with the Hawks. I think they're going to win outright. Kind of like what Jordan talked about with Gronowski. I think this guy's in his 5th year playing ball. He kind of pissed the bed a little bit. He's going to be fired up to have a chance to go into Jack Trice and right or wrong that the Hawkeyes did last year, and that was losing to Iowa State because they had no business losing that game. And, I got my blinders on. Give me the Hawks, baby. Let's roll.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think what you say is really good counsel. For about 10 years, I have been talking about the death of the Ferentz era. I've had my cross out and my wooden spike to kill Dracula on at least 10 occasions. Rhabdo, the racial stuff, the God knows what. And then, he wins games punting 200 times a year. Iowa State punt returners run into each other. It's just like you can't kill Ferentz no matter how hard you try. So I picked Iowa State, but Dracula, you just can't kill that guy. And he wins and wins and wins. So if the Hawks win, which they probably will, I will start drinking in the third quarter and probably quit on Sunday.
Well, that sounds like a pretty good time.
Home team hasn't won in this rivalry since 2018 either. So
there you
that's
go.
Another
so
one.
Keep in mind.
I love that. Yep. So you're taking the points and the money line with the Hawks. I got it. So guys, that was a great show. I really enjoyed it. We're going to be doing this every week. We'll be cutting it up into what I call tidbits. We'll be out on Twitter. Thank you so much for following us. Please reach out to us anytime via Twitter. We love what we're doing. We love to get more fans involved. As you know, we're all just 5, 6 guys who are volunteering our time, having fun doing it. And we love covering football. So, hey, we really appreciate you. Jordan, Ghost, any parting words before we're out of here?
Ghost, go ahead.
I've got a whole lot on the agenda this weekend, I guess to cover that we haven't already covered. So go Hawks, go Co-Hawks on Thursday. I know we're supposed to now be biased, but I just can't.
I know we're not supposed to. Yeah, but there's
Yeah,
nobody more biased.
I was going to say thank you guys for having me on. And again, to reiterate that Roseberry and I will be at the Cornell game on Thursday. So come on out and let's watch some good football.
All right. Hey, appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you, JD.
See it. We stop the recording. Nice job, Ghost. Really good job.
Work. That's good stuff. Sorry about the delay there.
Hey, don't worry about it. You go. I'm sorry to keep you up.
No.